to join us on our webinar today. I am just going to give it a minute or two to allow people to join on, and then we should kick off in the next 2 minutes. Okay, great. I think that's everyone. I think we can get started. Again, thank you so much for making the time to join our discussion today on the food industry and how to future-proof your production. Here we go. Today, I will presenting. I am the General Sales Manager for Aishida South Africa. Well, our focus this year is on establishing customers in their growth pipeline with their production and where they see themselves in the next 2 to 5 years. I also have with me Sean van der Merwe, who is our after-sales team lead, and he will be discussing certain aspects in relation to our after-sales department and how we deal with you after you bought machinery from Aishida.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Sean van der Merwe. I'm currently heading up the service department as after-sales service team leader for RSA. And I've been with Aishida since August 2016. My main focus and background is material handling as well as production, where yet again customer service is key.
Great. So today we look at the food landscape in South Africa and some key issues surrounding the market structure with the food industry, the importance of SMME business and sustainability. Our next steps will then be to look at Industry 4.0 and disruption and using these key elements at creating opportunities and future-proofing your production. We'll then end with a description on the various products in automation, looking specifically at Aishida as a partner. So let's look at the South African food industry landscape and let's discuss the key factors when it comes to structure. We do have 5 very key major food products that we produce, those mostly being maize and bread, dairy, poultry, processed fruits and vegetables, and confectionery. I think what is important about the South African landscape is the division between your major producers and your small to medium businesses. For example, if we look specifically into maize and bread, it is dominated, 85% of bread sales is dominated by 3 or 4 key producers. The rest of the business, if you look at maize and bread, in terms of storage with silos, there's only 17 silos, and that is owned by co-ops. So the division between what is seen as big and small is quite huge when you look at the South African landscape. Another example where it's quite apt is within the poultry industry. The poultry industry at the moment has what we would distinguish as emerging farmers, 400 of. But the majority of what is being produced is being held by 3 or 4 key producers within our landscape. So that drives a lot of importance into what you do as a SMME or as a medium-sized business, or even as a major producer, what your role is in growth in these major food products. So if we look at small to medium enterprises, most of them seem to be allocated within the Gauteng region, and then it sort of peters down towards the Western Cape, KwaZulu-Natal, and the other regions. The focus there seems to be on consulting, but 13% of small to medium enterprises are focused around food and beverage. It highlights the fact that people are looking at producing, at processing, or at selling some sort of food or beverage product. What does that mean for South Africa in a whole? It means that given the right tools, those sort of companies would increase our rate of employment at the moment and growth within the region. The small business sector in South Africa is a critical part of the national economy. In 2018, the national unemployment rate from 2018, the national unemployment rate has grown to 27.2%, and more than 250,000 jobs have been lost. Government is therefore looking towards small businesses in its efforts to achieve the National Development Plan of creating 11 million jobs by 2030. SMEs are currently operating within highly competitive business environments. And given the current state of South Africa's economy and the level of unemployment, this will likely continue for the foreseeable future. The SMEs are predominantly very young, with around 60% of owners operating for less than 3 years. Entrepreneurs employ 29% of the labor force. With the current employment rate sitting at 27%, this should be seen as an important aspect of alleviating unemployment. So then let's look at the third key factor when we look at food produce in South Africa. That surrounds sustainability. In terms of our environment, we have 5 really important elements we need to focus on. The first being water management. As we know, there are several of our provinces that are undergoing a severe drought at the moment. We need to look at regenerative agriculture and how to be smart in the way farmers' agricultural practices are utilized. Of course, we have to look at responsible sourcing, and that has a lot to do with having the right knowledge about what it is we're doing and putting in place the correct targets in terms of sourcing. The next is to be very aware of the dietary shift away from meat towards plant-based products. That plays a key part in how you structure your business going forward. And the last element, and I think a global issue at the moment, is food waste. How do we minimize that locally within our region? If we talk about food waste, I'd like to put it out to those of you here today who are watching. In the next 30 minutes of this webinar, how much food will be wasted globally? I think if you would, maybe put it in the chat. How much do you think in tonnage, in truckloads, how much food would actually be wasted in the next 30 minutes? We'll come back to it at the end of the webinar. So we've had a good look at our landscape. I think now we have to look at Industry 4.0 and what that is and what that means for the business locally. We've had some hard lessons from 2020, and that includes defined as a range of technologies that are fusing the physical, digital, and biological worlds, the impacting on disciplines, economies, and industries. It is disrupting the way business is being done across sectors while creating massive opportunities for businesses. 35% of small business owners surveyed believed that they were ready for disruption, while 32% felt their businesses could handle disruption. It's important for SMEs to use technology to better position themselves, to take advantage of the opportunities for growth when presented. As highlighted, the maturity of the SME directly impacts its employment contribution and revenue stream. And thus, SMEs require substantially more support during their initial years of operation. Providing support in these initial stages can help SMEs contribute to employment while reducing the current high rate of failure. Entrepreneurs need to think, they need to be encouraged to think about innovative ways of doing business. And that is the role of bigger corporations that are handling the food industry currently. It could be achieved through mentorship from companies who operate in this niche. It could be done by companies who integrate it into their own businesses with the idea of insulating smaller companies and teaching them how to use Industry 4.0. Now, the most exciting part of Industry 4.0 is the opportunities it creates. And I'd like to go through several factors within our own industry where I think huge developments could be made. In South Africa, we have a huge diversity of underused indigenous plants that represent an enormous wealth of agrobiodiversity and have the potential to contribute to improved incomes, job creation, and local development, economic development. The Bioeconomy Agriculture Sector Implementation Plan identified new or underdeveloped crops that have the potential to be developed into new and specialized commercial products. This program is twofold. Firstly, it takes a long-term view of research and development with an eye to producing new cultivators and varieties of niche indigenous plants. Secondly, it focuses on aggressive commercialization of these niche products. The second key element is the global halal industry. That industry is worth approximately $2.3 trillion, growing at an estimated rate of 20% annually. The industry is valued at about 560 billion a year, which makes it one of the fastest growing consumer segments in the world. South African halal manufacturing companies are in a perfect position to also benefit from the growing market. The industry in South Africa has been identified by a number of organizations as having the potential to contribute towards very significant growth and job creation. It is essential that the halal industry value chain be properly understood to support the development of its manufacturing opportunities. This will enable South Africa to put in place the necessary support structures to ensure sustainable development of the industry from producer to consumer. The third is the poultry industry. Here we speak specifically to the poultry plan that has been launched. In this industry, we have 400 emerging farmers that can be developed through various innovative procedures to ensure that South Africa becomes one of the foremost producers of poultry. The fourth one is agro-processing export development, looking at specific produce that we have that is unique to South Africa. Rooibos, for example, is a unique South African plant with a global market footprint. It is generally traded as a flavored infusion, thus neutralizing the benefits of the original plant. Extensive local and international research has indicated the vast benefits of rooibos, both for medicinal and cosmetic use. The South African government successfully applied for rooibos to be recognized as uniquely South African, uniquely South African product, and therefore qualify for geographic indication. To maximize global recognition of rooibos, extensive publication of its properties and promotion in targeted markets needs to be undertaken. The next, of course, is when it comes to processed fruit and veg. South Africa is ranked amongst the world's largest producers of fresh fruit and nuts. The subsector is the largest contributor in terms of value to agricultural exports. It equates to about 90% of our total exports. The implementation of Operation Phakisa and fruit value chain roundtables, the outcomes are targeted at rapidly accelerating this export growth and developing value-added or processed products in both new and existing markets. Lastly, the sugar industry, which makes an important contribution to the national economy, given its agricultural and industrial investments, foreign exchange earnings, labor intensity, specifically in rural areas, and direct linkages with other downstream industries, including confectionery. It is characterized by heavy concentration. A few large-scale commercial farmers supplying over 80% of production, while the great majority of small-scale farmers, around the number of 20,000, contribute approximately 10% of production. Similarly, representation at the milling level is skewed towards a few historically advantaged large players. It is critical for long-term sustainability of the industry to recognize the role and significance of small-scale growers in the value chain and to develop the necessary measures to achieve inclusive growth in this industry. Having evaluated the opportunities, what are the steps to get what you could, to get where you need to be to place yourself in a competitive position? You look at setting your business apart, and it all comes down to what you can offer potential customers, whilst keeping your business as profitable as possible. Hand in hand with this, you need to be able to adapt easily to consumer trends to be competitive. This can all be achieved through automation, reducing your giveaway, increasing your output, ensuring quality, and remaining flexible enough to stay ahead of the industry. Let's move into a product demonstration where we illustrate what is possible. My apologies, we have a little bit of a hiccup here. Good. So this demonstration will show the various applications that use automation in various phases, from startup automation to final phase automation experts. As part of a first phase automation installation, an Ishida SE series weigher mounted over an intermittent motion bag maker. This robust and economical combination is capable of 90 bags per minute. A feed and distribution system may be added to ensure continuous flow of product to the weigher. Illustrated here is the fastback system provided by our partners Heat and Control, with unique cylindrical outlets that rotate to divert proportional amounts of product to the weigher. Second phase automation leads us to this single tube ITPS system. This unit is capable of speeds of up to 150 bags per minute. Additionally, an inline seal tester is used to check for leaks and bag inflation rates. Bags that do not meet the specified requirements are then rejected. For every weighment, a weigher can calculate 16 times as many possible combinations and check the result 3 times. It does this in 1/5 the time. The single control weigher and bag maker solution is a great start into the final phase of automation, offering speeds of up to 150 bags per minute. At final stage automation, flavoring may be added through Heat and Control's on-machine seasoning units that offer significant flexibility. OMS offers savings and flexibility by applying seasoning to products. Added to this, an Ishida RV series multi-head weigher over twin rotary Boschen continuous bag makers. For extruded snacks, baked snacks, and potato chips, this twin tube ITPS system achieves unmatched speeds of up to 300 bags per minute. An integrated printing and metal detection system can be added to ensure the quality and safety of your product. Salt stick applications are notoriously tricky. However, an Ishida solution includes specially shaped feeder troughs to help contain and direct the sticks, while funnel inserts ease the transition from trough to hopper. A special array built into the discharge chute just underneath the weigh hoppers holds and then releases the sticks from each hopper. At the other end of the chute, twin shutters further reduce fall distance and compact the sticks together. Taken together, this reduces breakages by 30% in comparison to other weighers. Importantly, ultrasonic sealing offers significant operational advantages and savings through reduced food waste and enhanced machine safety. To display retail products, strip pack application can be added. This easy-to-use tape offers top quality results and reduces risk of delamination when bags are pulled off. Complete snack food packaging solutions are not an idea for the future, but an active and integral part of business today. Companies around the world look to Ashida for solutions from processing to case packing. As a partner, we look at your requirements and can guide you through the journey of automation. So let's look closer at what the building blocks of the various snacks applications are. You will have to just give me a moment while I move back a few slides. My apologies. Right. So where do we start as an automation partner? Most companies have established factories, and the first port of call would be to include some element of quality control and compliance. You should be able to do this quite easily with a checkweigher. A checkweigher ensures that the product you are creating complies with whatever it is either that the government wants, consumers are looking for, or that you have promised to a potential customer. The next step to include in that is Industry 4.0 related, making sure that you have all the information available at your fingertips. This is either data-driven by the cloud, or you can have software integrated. Ideally, with Ashida as a partner, we include it via cloud by Sentinel. Your next step, and most important step, is weighing. Weighing is strategy step 1, which we will discuss in the next slide. It ensures accuracy and speed. Once you have that in place, we can move on to a packaging system, and there are many varieties depending on your product. Lastly, and when you're ready for it, we move on to a full project line. That will include processing, your packaging, and your dispatch. So let's look at the first strategy step of weighing, and it must begin with a multi-head weigher. The chief benefits of a multi-head weighing are speed and accuracy. Speed is important for efficiency and throughput per shift, per production run. Accuracy is crucial in reducing giveaway, and so increasing yields of packaged product. Multi-head weighing plays a central role in ensuring that fixed weight packs can be delivered reliably and consistently, and with the accuracy that ensures profitability by keeping giveaway to a minimum. The models shown here feature rotating in-feed chutes that help separate fillets, specifically for the poultry industry. However, Ashida's standard range includes models to meet all circumstances and applications. The next step is packaging. Once you've weighed your product, what do? A lot of customers are asking us about MAP, modifying the atmospheric pressure to ensure longevity of their product. This is imperative for longer freshness cycles and waste elimination. In terms of packaging, we could offer tray sealers that offer speeds up to 200 trays per minute with rapid and easy changeovers and exceptional control. If tray sealing is not for your product, we look to the other spectrum, bag making. We do have bag makers available for every stage of automation, from startup to final phase automation. The importance here is looking at being very straightforward with your equipment and having it utilized for your best benefit. What we normally do is have a look at how many bags per minute you're currently doing, what you'd like to get to, and how best to get to that solution. We start with the entry level that can be between 65 and 70 bags, up to twin ITPS systems that can reach speeds of up to 300 bags. Lastly, and most importantly, is looking at quality control. Here we look at check weighers, X-rays, seal testers, and the AirScan. Each of these pieces of equipment ensures that your relationship with your customer is kept sacred and safe. It makes sure that the promises you make are met, compliance is met. It makes sure that you have no contaminants within your product. And that is important, specifically if we look back to the opportunities we discussed. If you look towards the export market, one of the things that you need to ensure is that you have no contaminants. And lastly is ensuring that your product is actually safe and will have a long shelf life. That means making sure that your products have no holes in them, and that's where the AirScan fits in. Seal testers and AirScan look for those minute holes in your packaging that will damage your modified atmospheric pressure. That is quality control. So having a look at our product demonstration that we looked at earlier, it shows you the various stages you go through as you implement automation into your facility. But more importantly than just implementing it is making sure that you have the service to back that up. At this point, I'm going to hand over to Sean to discuss after sales within Ishida South Africa. Over to you, Sean.
Thanks, Mel. As Ishida as a partner, you will see the customer service. That's one of the key functions that we've got in South Africa. Yet again, with the slogan, local is lekker, we all support local industry and local markets. As Ishida, we strive to ensure optimal customer service. There's a few primary points, as well as the strong, should I say, local support that sets us apart from the opposition. We also continuous on the Ishida philosophy, the three-way harmony, as Malika mentioned. And to give you a little bit of in-feed in respect to why meeting up with Ishida, there's 4 key points. Ishida as a partner, which I'll get back a little bit later on, budget-led service contracts, 24/7, which is the support side and functionality of it, as well as the specialist training that we provide. With Ishida,
sorry, Sean, I'm butting in. Apparently, our presentation has disappeared. Can you give me 2 minutes to pull it back up?
No, Mel. Apologies.
My apologies. Right, I think we are almost back on track. I'm going to zoom through the presentation. I think we are back on track. Just give me a moment to check. Good. You're good to go. Thanks, Sean.
Thanks a million. Referring back to the key focus points, Ishida as a partner, Ishida as budget-led service contracts, the 24/7 support that we offer within our service contracts, as well as the specialized support and training that we provide to the customers and mostly to the operators on the shop floor. As Ishida, yet again, I said we strive primarily, for long support. I would also put in there that with the strong local support, it really sets us apart from the opposition. And yet again, as Ishida employees or as customers from Ishida, we embrace the philosophy on the three-way harmony, as Malika mentioned a little bit earlier on. To get back into respect to the Ishida as a partner, the key focus points and should I say the functions or the benefits of this is we can achieve greater leverage within the market. Example, build awareness and advocacy. We can also address the complex issues on hand with the customers on the facilities, which requires coordinating of multiple service delivery principles. We can also provide an integrated continuing of services to the customer's needs and in accordance to the expectations that is required. And we also can strengthen and expand our service quality of program to ensure optimal growth for the customer as well as for the guys on the shop floor. In respect to budget-led services, Ishida has distinguished a service document that was quite, should I say, very in-depth for customers that is available through Ishida South Africa. which is known as Service 365. There's two options, the Service 365 and the Service 365 Premium, which has its different benefits. As a budget-led service, the biggest concerns of all companies nowadays, and the questions I get asked is, what is my return on investment? We've got CapEx or we don't have CapEx. And my answer is quite simple to the people that ask this question is, one cannot put a value, or should I say, one cannot determine a money principle on the knowledge gain for guys on the shop floor. Knowledge gain is a continuous and constant improvement for the guys on the shop floor. In saying so, it gives the operator the ownership on the machine. It ensures a better flow of production within the environment, and it also ensures that the expectations is met for the customers, whether top-level management or just normal people looking for production figures or stats. And then yet again, excuse me. Then we go back to the 24/7. In respect to the 24/7 service support that we offer, this forms part of the Ishida service contract, which is Premium 365. Our service contracts are supported by a team of experienced industry-trained service engineers and support staff who understand the pressures of keeping the production line running. Should the production line fail, and yet again, should the production line fail, our vastly experienced engineers understand the need to act fast and resolve the issues as quickly as possible. Taking ownership, prime example of the service contracts is calibration. With the new ISO standards getting in place, 45001, it is a key function for us, and we take the ownership away from the customer in respect to calibration. Ishida, with the people that are familiar with Ishida equipment, you would need to do a calibration yearly or biannually, all depending on your facility and the local environment you're in. And in doing so, we take that onus away from you. We take the calibration certificate, we take the test pieces, we send it in for calibration. With that calibration certificate, we set ourselves apart, because now we can provide the customer with the local expectations and industry standards that is required, and also assist with them in the auditing purposes. Yet again, with that calibration that actually gets eliminated, it forms part of your audit package. As a Ishida engineer, you will get provided with a calibration certificate on the equipment that was calibrated, in respect whether it's a weigher, in respect whether it's a check weigher, and most crucial of all, the X-ray. As we know, radiation plays a crucial part on the X-ray. There's also quite a strenuous document required for the X-ray, where it consists of 5 pages, which is called a pre-validation certification. And that is yet again a certificate that we issue to the customers in relation to the machine that was calibrated for the audit purposes. Then yet again, going back to specializing support and training. Specializing support and training. This is probably, should I say, one of the factors that's quite looked over within the South African market. Training, yet again, in-house, ensuring our engineers are updated with the latest training is the major issue for Ishida. This is one of the focus points we work on and we strive on, with workshops internally, even sending the guys abroad for training. And then yet again, provide them with the latest tools and technology, as I mentioned, online training or workshops. And then Ishida also offers to the employees as well as to the customers, we've got a training package called Ishida Sentinel. It is a machine performance monitoring tool that provides detailed performance reporting and a range of specialist advantage support options. And a lot of the customers are actually phasing to the section where it is as easy as where you can go onto your mobile phone or device. You can log in directly onto the screen, or as we call it, RCU, where you can see the actual error that's limited on the machine, whether it's just a warning, which is normally indicated in yellow, or whether it's a main error that's indicated in red. And with that, as Ishida is a partner within the service level contracts, we will be able to log onto it and provide you support, whether in South Africa or whether globally in Europe or even in EMA. It all depends on where we are and what time frame we're on. Externally, the offer and training we support, explaining to the customer the benefits of the trained skilled operators, yet again, referring back to Shida Expert, where we've got different levels. And it gives a little sense of onus to the operator. It provides the customer with a better feedback on what is actually required, and it's quite detailed. Yet again, externally as well, from a Shida perspective, we will, as Malika mentioned, a lot more open days will be held. We're currently in a newer facility within the South African market where we can do more demo days, we can do more actual trials for the customers. And yet again, certification, which I think forms a crucial part within South Africa. We're looking into the section where when we do the training, we provide the training to the customers, we give that little certificate to the operator on the shop floor, which gives him onus. Should I say his own little pride and joy. That is one of our key functions as South Africa in the after sales. Yet again, as I mentioned, Shida is a partner. You cannot partner with anybody else, unfortunately. Budget-led service contract, key benefits and support offered, 24/7 service support available. And yet again, training, which is the key focus point for us. Looking at the service contracts, our range of service contracts, as I mentioned, is a great source of relief for our customers during the pandemic. Our local presence and key worker status meant that we are still able to attend site and provide parts to ensure our customers' lines keeps running. These service contracts are tailored to assist to the requirements set out by the customer as a measurable benefit. It is the feedback within the reporting upon the completion of the site visit and the next day response, which is the one major selling point. And yet again, this is specifically only to service or should I contract related customers. Our key focus points is to ensure minimal disruption within the production environment and forms part of 6 key attributes that affects productivity, and they are equipment failure. Yet again, with a setup in the service contract, we can eliminate that for you. Setup and adjustments, that comes quietly in play when we do the calibrations, yet again, when we do certifications. Idling and monitoring stop. If you've got, yet again, if I can refer to the train, less is more. In this case, it is predominantly so. A lot of people just focus on the point, the more product you put onto the machine, the better your efficiency is going to be, which is not the case. Reduced in speed, yet again, key benefit that Shida offers within the service contract. We do the timing for you, we do the setup, we monitor the machines, we look at potential failures within the machine. We actually highlight these failures to you in respect to, should I say, problematic and less problematic. Process defects, and yet again, reduce yield. I think wastage, as Malika mentioned, is probably one of the key factors globally that people are not aware of, how much food actually gets wasted. And then yet again, going back to the approach, how Shida approaches it. We work on a holistic approach. And yet again, if I can refer to the points on the slide, all customers at least have one thing in common, and they represent a desire for change. Our goal, yet again, when you look at the little, should I say, gears at the bottom, our goal is to determine the reason for the gap in the situation and the desired outcome that is expected by the customer. In saying so, that is seen as a gap. Assessing needs before hurrying into actions increases the chance for success and reduces the risk of expensive mistakes, which we're all aware of. In doing so, we even out all the inconsistencies to ensure a holistic outcome. When looking at the holistic services, we look at the whole user journey and consider each touch point of that in service. A well-rounded or comprehensive service also involves the functionality, safety, reliability of the service with optimal outcome. The following key points when you look at the diagram on your right is focus points or points that we always consider. They are adopt, innovate, scale, engage, and discover. In respect to touching on those points, I would say adopt. As a business, we can adopt to improve a customer's service performance so they do not suffer the disruption or ultimately lose relevance within the marketplace. Innovate. as a Esheeda, we're there to innovate and also find better ways and means to ensure the customer's requirements are adhered to, whether software, whether hardware, or whether just local training and support. Scale. I think when it comes to scale, these are probably one of the key functions or key points in to what we can quantify this to the customer upon, yet again, referring back to the service contracts, doing findings, whether it's efficiencies, showing them the reduction in efficiencies, showing them the increase in efficiencies once you've got a dedicated and fully trained service engineer available from Esheeda. And also, yet again, product giveaway, where we actually eliminate the product giveaway with the equipment. Engaging. Yet again, I think engaging is a topic or a point that a lot of the people overlook. Engaging with the customer is key. If we don't have the feedback from the customer, we cannot have the desired outcome, and we can not have the desired, should I say, findings, or how can I distinguish it? If we don't have the desired outcome, the customer's needs are not met. Discover. In discovering and in taking all 4 points or all 5 points into consideration, you can discover the benefits of Esheeda as a partner. Yet again, engagement. That forms part of the discover process. If we can't engage with the customer can't discover the whole principle or the whole holistic approach that Esheeda offers as a company. And in saying so, that provides ease of mind to the customer, as well as a little bit of, should I say, ease of mind for Esheeda, knowing the equipment is well looked after, and in doing so, we keep the customer as in good faith. Yet again, key focus points is those five points. And as I mentioned, engaging with the customer is always a key function, whether it's over the phone or whether it's over, should I say, social media. But Esheeda is there to assist and monitor the Esheeda equipment. And closing off with the famous words that we normally had from Mr. Esheeda: be humble but have high expectations. In short, always have big goals for other processing or just as a general person and personality. Thank you once again, and I'm handing you back over to Malika.
Thanks, Sean. So that's just looking at Esheeda as a partner, and I thank you for that. The next slide sort of answers the question I asked a little bit earlier. In the last 30 minutes, how much food has been wasted? There's it there in a graphic form, 1,850 truckloads. When you consider the amount of poverty currently suffered, not just within South Africa, but in Africa as a region, that's a huge amount of food lost. It's estimated that South Africa will have to produce 50% more food by 2050 to feed an estimated 73 million people. And if we look at the stats already, I think we have some work cut out for us. Let me take this time to thank you. Submit all your questions in the Q&A area of the webinar. Let's discuss a few that you might have that you'd like to talk to us about. Alternatively, these are our contact details if you want to get a hold of us, if you want to ask any specific questions in relation to automation, the food industry, how Esheeda fits into everything. We've left our details there for you. So can I have a look at some questions? Have a look at some questions. You got to give me a moment, guys. I'm just scrolling through. Guys, do we have any questions? I see one here. How quickly can I book a service to carry out a recalibration? Sean, there's an interesting one for you. How quickly can we book a service technician to assist with the recalibration?
Spontaneous, Mel. I mean, we can, if I can just refer back to the customer and say, we've got a support desk, which is Zendesk. It's our service department. If you can maybe just drop a mail to spares@sparesrsa@esheedaeurope.com. and Michelle, one of our colleagues, will gladly assist and will accommodate you with a scheduled time and get back to you as soon as possible.
Great. And then we have another one. How many service staff do we have in South Africa? And are we only based in one offices, or do we have several? Sean, would you like to take that one again?
No. We've currently got 4 service technicians, or service engineers as we call them. 3 is based within the Johannesburg area, and 1 is based down in the coastal area, Cape Town side. Yes, and I mean, we're quite flexible. Unfortunately, it's that time of the year again where everybody's got breakdowns and stuff we need to attend to. But in saying so, if there's any requirement that you require, please drop us a mail. I'm just going to reiterate it yet again. The email address is sparesrsa@eshidaeurope.com. We will gladly pick up the query that you've got, whether it's inquiry, whether it's spares related, or whether it's service related, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible.
Great, thanks for that, Sean. We have another question, but a very interesting comment from, and I hope I'm saying your name right, Travo from Kenya, who mentions that most entrepreneurship sponsors focus more on good proposals as opposed to sustainable products, which leads them to believe that even if you have a good product, if you're poor at writing proposals, you wouldn't get sponsorship. And that I think that is part of the sad fact of things at the moment. I think entrepreneurship sponsors, incubators, need to have a look at what's good, not only for them as a business, but for their region as a whole. And there are lots of companies out there that can help with assisting putting business plans together. And part of that, I think that will highlight your proposal above any other is if you're looking ahead, if you're looking at things like automation, like Industry 4.0, and how to include that in your proposal, you might actually win those proposals much faster. I think maybe 1 or 2 more. Can I integrate a metal detector with a check wire? Yes, you can. We actually have a system that has a metal detector integrated with the check wire. It's faster processing, pure quality control at its best. So absolutely, you can do that. And let's have a look at one more. I'm trying to find just one more in there. Oh, I think that's just about it. No more. So guys, thank you so much for your time and watching the webinar. Again, there are our details. If you want to reach out to us, please feel free to do so. Should we perhaps look at the polls? As a close-off, what is your biggest challenge or barrier when looking at automating your food packing operations? I see that we have split. 33% is funding and 33% look at lack of experience. As a partner, Ishida are happy to help you in both those instances. We work with the company locally to finance the equipment for you. So funding might be a little bit easier. We're hoping to help customers that way. And when it comes to lack of experience, not at all a problem. We are a partner. We have the experience sitting with us. Call on us, and we will show you exactly where you should start, how you should start, and help you along the journey as you implement. So I think I'm going to close it off there. Thank you to everyone, and hopefully we'll hear from you soon.
Thank you so much, everybody. Keep well.